Hi everybody, all my followers, welcome to another one of my videos. So I'm going to talk a little bit now at the start of this video. If you want to understand exactly everything about this car, just don't skip it, otherwise just, I don't know, just go somewhere forward where the repair might be. So I was let me see if I get the story right, because I want everything to make sense. So first of all, I was very reluctant to take this car, to take this job, basically to take this car. This is a 2010 1.6 petrol engine Mini Cooper S. Okay, so I was contacted a few days ago, saying that if I would like to have a look at this car, because the car does not start. I said to this, he's a colleague of mine at work, although the car does not belong to him, belongs to someone else. But yes, I said, yeah, it's not a problem. He said, okay. So he said, the car is at this place. And he said, if they can't get it fixed by tomorrow evening, then obviously you can have the car. I was also requested to pick up the car myself, so I took the van yesterday and I got the car here. Because they could not get it fixed, but he told me where the car was when he first got in touch with me. And I went Google to see who these guys were. And that's when I became really reluctant about getting this job here. Because these guys here in the UK, they are a kind of a BMW and Mini specialists. They are a quite high-tech, tip-top garage, and they specialize only on BMWs and Minis. So when I realized that, and I've seen that they couldn't get these running, I thought, you know, if they can't get it running, I'm not gonna. I stand no chances. No chance for me then. But I already told I would have a look at it, and I thought it would be really bad if I now turn around and say, look, I don't want to look at the car anymore. It was just so... I took the car. I just hope I don't regret, and I just hope... I'm really hoping I can find the issue with this. If I find the issue with this, I'm going to feel so good, especially after the car has been for I think for a couple of weeks at this place. And I'm going to show you their diagnostics sheet. I put one of my labels in there because I want to hide the car and the company details. But this is their diagnosis. So, work description, Diag suspected cast unit error. And then it says, labor, carry out BMW diagnosis. So this guy paid 78 quid. And this is what they did. Okay, so he says, found clutch switch fault, replaced clutch switch, and then fault still present. Found no signal from CAS control unit to DME. Replace CAS control unit and test. Now I have signals and power to DME, but nothing from DME to engine components. Checked wires from CAS to DME, DME to components, all wires found to have continuity. Found signs of power, probing wire loom to crankshaft sensor multiplier, removed clutch switch, removed CAS control unit, and refit all original components. Vehicle going elsewhere for second opinion. And I am the second opinion. Now, there's providing everything they put here in this piece of paper is true, there's a few things that concern me, especially coming from a company like this, which is found clutch switch fault, replaced clutch switch. Fault still present. Now, the car cranks. Okay, the clutch switch, the only thing it does, as far as I'm aware, is allow you to crank the engine. So if I don't press the clutch switch, the car does not crank. in case the car is in gear. Now, they say here they put all the components back on. Yeah, removed clutch switch, removed gas control unit, and refit all original components. Which means they put the old clutch switch. The car still cranks. So, how could they say the clutch switch was fault if the original clutch switch still allows me to crank the engine? So, something here does not make sense. A little bit weird to start with. On that first phrase in there, just doesn't make sense. So let's gonna now move to found no signal from CAS to DM unit. Sorry guys, I got interrupted. So let's gonna move to found no signal from CAS unit to DME. Replace CAS control unit and test. Now, they say here after this they say they now have signals, but nothing from DME to engine components. So, I don't know guys, but, so if they, well, let's just come out a little bit of this of what we're talking about. First of all, why did they give up after all this? The only thing they had after this, really, was the DME. They never say they replaced the DME. So, why, if they done replace the clutch switch, replace the CAS, why not have a go with the DME then? If they found in there that nothing from DME to engine components. Check the wires from CAS to DME. Why they check the wires from CAS to DME if just before they say, now I have signals and power to DME? Why they check these afterwards? The DME, the only thing is going to, the CAS, the only thing it's going to do is going to tell the engine ECU that the immobilizer, the security has been, all the security components have been checked, and yet allow the engine to start. Is the only thing that's going to reach the DME from the CAS. So it's a little bit weird. So DME to components, all wires found to have continuity. Found signs of power, probing wiring loom to crankshaft sensor multiplug. What about everything else that needs to be checked for the engine to start? And then they just remove everything, blah, 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 and put all the original components back on the car. And this is what they did. Now, as I said already, there's a few things here that don't add up to me. I mean, it might just be me being petty, but there's a few things here that might just been worded wrong. I'm not an expert in English, so who am I to judge that? But it might be just has been worded wrong, but I don't know. I don't know. So basically, everything they did here, I'm gonna ignore completely. So these were just purely to show you I'm gonna start to work on this car as if this did not exist, because I didn't find that very helpful. So the first thing I'm gonna do now, guys, is plug the maxi-Cs. I know it was nearly 9 minutes of talking, but I thought this would be important for you to know a little bit of the background of what's been done on the car. But like I said, forget all that now. Let's gonna start on this car as if, as I said, as if the car has been nowhere before. So the first thing I'm gonna do is connect the maxi-Cs and see what the maxi-Cs tell us. Before I do that, I'm gonna show you that the car cranks just fine. So key on. Now the seat is a little bit up. Okay, press the clutch and crank the engine. I'm sure you could hear the engine cranking, but it doesn't start. Now, so this is how the car reacts. There's a few lights on, there's a few things coming up. Not really sure yet what they are, but surely we will soon find out. Okay, so yesterday was start to rain. and I had a look at the live data, and there is something I want to show you. But I was looking in the engine bay a little bit, just inspecting stuff. But yeah, the weather was not very good. Today is slightly better, but obviously for the video purpose, I'm going to show you the live data. So as you can see, I've scanned the car, and we have no faults other than in the CAS system, as you can see. Okay. So on the CAS system, the faults I do have is those two in there, okay? Now, the A0B4 engine starter operation, this fault pretty much is just an information. It's just basically telling you that at some point the car failed to start. The top one, this is a manual car, so this manual car does have what they call a 0 gear position sensor, which is placed at the front of the gearbox, so facing the front of the car. There's a little sensor in there that detects when the car is in neutral, basically. And it's telling me that is an implausible signal. So it might be that there is something wrong in there. But as I've showed you, the car cranks. And I don't think this would prevent the car from start, providing the car cranks, it should start. So if we go back, and I go to live data, I think it's under inputs. So the clutch, it says not depressed. If I press the clutch, it changed to depressed. So the clutch sensor is working fine. And remember, they said they put the old back on, that was not working correctly, so don't know. And everything else, this is just for doors and stuff like that, so yeah, so it doesn't really matter here. So yeah, so just to look a little bit of the live data, that looks fine to me. And then I don't think I have anything else here. Start, stop, all effect, keep pressed. No, that's it. Let's try to see. This is the terminals. Terminal wake up ACC 0.13 volt. Okay, so the wake up terminal is on the PT can. Is now on ACC, so obviously probably is why we have 0 in there, 11 in there. Okay. I don't think I have anything else here that's gonna help me on anything. So let's gonna go back now. Let's gonna go to the engine. So there's no codes, obviously. Let me see if there's any. No. Any pendant codes. Okay, so on live data, it's a little bit off clear, guys, but I can't really. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So zero gear. Position 0 gear sensor. So when I engage gear, could you see that goes into 9.38%? I'm now on first gear. Now it goes to 51. So the 0 gear, so now I'm in fourth gear. So 50% is roughly. That means, yep, that means I'm in neutral, I think. There we go. So if you look down there, it says 0 gear currently selected. So if I go like first gear, vehicle current not in 0 gear. So as you can see, every time I come out of gear, it tells me that's in 0. So the sensor is working just fine. And it says value taught in. So this sensor is working fine. Don't know why it tells me that error in there. When everything is just working fine. See if there's any more live data. Counter total engine start since last programming, 98. It looks like this car had a programming not long ago. Okay, so in this live data here, everything looks absolutely fine to me. Air pressure doesn't really matter. Engine management, speed. Idle not active. Okay, let me try to crank this engine, see if we see any values in there on the crank sensor, on the engine speed. I'm gonna try to crank and see what happens. Okay, and I have no rotation speed. I had no rotation speed in there, as you've seen, which is a little bit weird. Although I must confess, some ECUs, some diagnostic machines, sometimes they don't show that while the engine is cranking. So let's keep this in mind, but not stress too much about it just yet. Foot pedal doesn't really matter. High pressure fuel. Let me have a look at that. Guys, I do apologize for the glare, but okay. Oh, that's it. Okay, so we have rail pressure actual value. So this, just a little bit of info here, this is a direct injection engine. Now, these engines and all the BMW engines with this system, they are known for the pumps to fail. So basically what you should have a pump in the tank, a delivery fuel pump in the tank that should supply about 5 bars to the high pressure pump. That's the pressure the high pressure pump needs to work properly. So it needs about 5 bars. So, and then at idling, the high pressure fuel pump should deliver about 50 bars idling, which means MPA is going to be 5 MPAs, megapascals. It should be about 5. But when cranking, I'm not sure which pressure it should reach, but I would say it should be very close to 50. I would say it's going to need probably about 30-40 megapascals to start the engine. Rail pressure set point is not showing nothing at the moment, but yeah, it should. Hang on, let me see. So it should show about 50 bars. Let me see if I can change these PSIs, MPAs. Oh, it only shows PSIs. You only show PSIs. So it's showing 107 PSIs. So that's the delivery fuel, or it should be the delivery fuel from the actually pump in the tank, which is about right. It should be, well, it's actually a little bit more than it should be, but it should be about, I think 5 bars are 72 PSIs, I think it is. Something around there. But let me go to megapascals because I feel a little bit more comfortable with. So when cranking, that should go, I would say, to about 3 megapascals. So let's kind of see what happens when I crank. Press the clutch. And I have about 10 bars. Look, 10. You went to about 3, but then look, 148, 0.9. So very, very low pressure out. I think, I'm not sure what do I need during cranking, but if he needs 50 when idling, I'm sure he needs more than that when cranking. Will we have a bad fuel pressure pump? Okay, another thing to keep in mind, but I think I know how I'm gonna test to see if it's a fuel delivery issue. Okay, I think I know how I'm gonna do it, but let's gonna go back on this one, see what else we have here. Ignition, what's the ignition here? Oh, just the angle, doesn't really matter for now. Interfaces, what's this? I think that's it, really. Okay. Misfire detection is not gonna work, obviously. Whatever that is. Yeah. Okay, doesn't really matter. The next screen, optional. Smoothness values, what we have in here. It doesn't really matter as well. Physical number. Voltage supply. Everything looks fine. Okay, so this is our live data. Let's see if we have any codes now, because we tried to crank the engine. Okay, so we have a thing in there. It says DME clutch switch 10%. Doesn't really matter. Whatever that is. It should not prevent the engine from starting anyway. So at the moment, with these checks, we got to two things. One, we had no readings on engine speed while cranking, and fuel pressure I don't think is right as well. But yeah, I think I'm gonna make a few checks, and then we'll get back. Okay guys, so the first thing I've done, probably a waste of time, but the first thing I've done was that I take all this trim out to have access to this fuse box. I've tested every single fuse, I've removed everything, every single plug to check for corrosion or whatever. Everything looks fine to me over here. I don't think this would have anything to do with the problem, but just to double check, yeah. This is just pressing the clutch so I can crank from the outside. I've been trying to make the most of the weather, so I've not been recording everything, but I'm going to record now, just so I can show you. So as you can see, I've done a little bit more than just check. I removed all these Hauser filter and all the pipes around, just to give me a better view of everything. I removed the tops of these plugs here. I've stripped this down here a little bit. These connectors here, this is what I believe the other guys have been doing, because one of these wires is I've checked it, and is the signal that comes from the cars. One of the wires is that, and the other one I can't even, is the wake up line. Yeah, so that's, I believe they cut these wires to check. So not really sure, but yeah. So I've measured the voltage onto this sensor, that one, the airflow meter, and the crankshaft sensor that is right at the back, and we have a voltage reference in there now. A little bit of info here, maybe, and this is what I'm going to show you. is, guys, I could not measure crankshaft or camshaft signal. Now, I first thought was just me getting crazy. I've checked and double checked the scope. It's set onto 5 volts to about 50 milliseconds, something like that, or 550 milliseconds, I think it is. And there's nothing there really. When I could not measure, especially the crankshaft sensor, because the camshaft sensor, even without signal from there, the engine should start. Without the crankshaft signal, it's not going to start. It's not going to start. It's not going to fire the spark plugs, and it's not going to activate the injectors. So we need crankshaft speed, and I can't measure it. I measured it at the top, at the back of the ECU plugs by back probing the wires. I've measured it at the sensor itself, right at the back of the sensor. Same thing, no signal, and no signal from the camshaft sensor either. And that's just what I'm going to show you. So I'm going to show you that we have voltage in there, and I'm going to show you that we have no signal coming from those sensors. Okay, so there's no point to be here really wasting too much time, but basically, guys, this black wire here, this black wire, which is pin number 7, is my ground to the crankshaft sensor. Number 8, the one straight after, is the ground to my camshaft sensor. Then we have voltage, let me see if I get this right, voltage on this plug here, this yellow wire straight after the black, right there after my nail, is number 35, that's the 5 volts to my crankshaft sensor. Number 16, which is this last yellow one right after my fingernail, is pin number 16, is the 5 volts is the signal. Sorry, okay, I'm getting this wrong. So those two in there, they are the grounds, these two. So grounds to the 2 sensors. Then we have, let me see if I get this right, this yellow one here, this yellow one there, is the 5 volts feed to my crankshaft sensor. Then this yellow one here is the signal from this sensor, and this one here, this white one in there, that still has this pin here in place, which is number 13, is my signal from the crankshaft sensor. Okay, that's how it is. Okay, I got it right now. So that's how it is. So I'm gonna plug the crankshaft sensor first, and we're gonna see that there is no signal. Okay, so the first thing, I've changed this to one of these back probes, but I put one there and one pin in there. And all I'm gonna make sure is that I have a good contact from here to the pin, so we make sure we're getting a good reading from that signal. Okay, so I'm gonna just check that, and as you can see, I have 0.5 ohms between obviously here and there, so that means this is actually making a good contact. So we're gonna take it off, and we're gonna put it back. Okay, now I'm gonna connect this into my scope. Okay, and I have my lead connected here, as you can see, and I have my ground, which was, or is, being taken off from the actually ECU body, okay, on that corner. And let's gonna change that to scope. And the glare is gonna destroy everything, so let me take this off. So as you can see, there's 5 volts, 500 milliseconds. I'm gonna crank the engine, and we should have a signal in there. Now I do believe this camshaft sensor this crankshaft sensor is a pull down type, so which means once I turn the ignition on, I should have 5 volts right at the top, and then as the sensor is activated, as the metal passes through, it should pull down to 0 volts, and you should see 0, 5, 0, 5, like that. You have the pull up type, which measures 0 volts all the time, and then it goes up to 5 when obviously is actuated. So yeah, let's gonna turn ignition on. Okay, and because I have that in there, I can just crank it from the outside and show you the readings. So as you can see, we still have 0 volts to start with. Let's make crank. And as you have seen, we got nothing. Now I'm gonna check the camshaft, but I'm gonna back probe straight here because it's gonna be easier. So we're gonna do it like that. Here's the middle pin, the signal is the middle pin, okay? And we're gonna do the same. The ignition's still on. As you can see, we still have pretty much 0 volts. And when I crank, I get something there, but pretty much nothing. And just to show you that we have voltage on the sensor, I'm going to move this probe into the 5 volt signal, and we're going to see that we have 5 volts. There we go. So if I take it out and put it in, as you can see, we have 5 volts in there, just fine. Let me try to do the same on the other one, though is a little bit on the crankshaft sensor. Let's see if I can show you. There we go, 5 volts, as you can see. So we have 5 volts in there as well. And we're gonna just quick check the grounds, just for the purpose of the video. And we're gonna make sure that we have ground. So to check the grounds, hang on a minute. Okay, so I have the scope now on meter and it's set to continuity. As you're going to see, you can hear the beep. So we're going to check pin number. What we're going to check? Let's see. So I'm going to check the ground here on the sensor here. So I'm going to put this in there. Let me take this out. Between the sensor and the chassis. There we go, ground. And we're going to do the same on this the ice cream thing. Really? Okay. So I'm back probing now the wire that goes to the camshaft, to the crankshaft sensor, and we're going to measure against the chassis, and we have ground. We have continuity. I've checked all these before, guys, but just for the purpose of the video. So I can't get readings from these two sensors. As I said, this one is not important. The other one, I need a signal for the engine to start. So my next step before I either blame the sensors or either blame something else is I'm gonna test these sensors, these two sensors on the bench. Okay, so we're gonna test the sensor on the bench. The sensor, they don't say that on the report, but the crankshaft sensor is actually a brand new sensor. So they replaced the sensor, but obviously that didn't fix the problem. We still have no readings from the sensor. But we're going to bench test both, see if we have a reading from them. There's a small circuit you need to build, but I'll take you through that. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, guys, I'm gonna only show you. Well, I've tested both already. Where's the other one? Where did I place the other one? Hang on. There it is. So this is the brand new one they fit in. Okay, I've tested it already, but I don't have the plug for this one, so I had to put some little clips in there, and then I tested it, and it's working. I can guarantee you. But just for study purpose, curiosity, for this one, I actually have a plug, a proper plug. Okay. And I'm just going to show you how this is done, how this is actually connected. Okay. Oh, what is the thing, you know? So this is my ground here. That connects to, oh sorry, to my board, to the ground over here. So this is my power feeds, okay, right here at the back. Forget about this in the middle, doesn't matter. So ground, 5 volts, okay. Let me turn the power supply on so I can show you. Okay, 5 volts. And then what we have here is the following. We have a straight connection from ground to my ground point of my sensor, this wire, and we have this yellow one is my 5 volts that goes into there. This is my signal wire, this orange one, as you can see, the middle wire. And what we have now here is we have a 5.2 kilo ohms between my signal wire, okay, and my 5 volts. Is all you need, so it works as a pull down, okay. And what we're going to do, so on this board here, I'm going to take the signal from this wire because it's connected into the same row. If you know a little bit about these boards, you'll know what I mean. And we're going to connect my multimeter here, my scope. It's going to get this somehow. Okay, I'm going to have to bring this up a little bit so you can actually see the screen. So I think you're gonna have to forget me a little bit about the board now because I can't show you both. Okay, so you're gonna have to be watching only either the screen or the board, but I will show you this. So we're gonna plug these into my signal, my black lead to my ground, and we have 5 volts, and that's what you expect to see anyway, even with the sensor unplugged. Okay, now we're gonna plug the sensor. We're gonna carry on reading 5 volts. Yeah, and now watch what happens when I put this in front of it. Bang. Okay, so this sensor is working just fine. Now I've done the same, as I said, with the crankshaft, and it's working exactly the same. I can have readings. So at this point, my friends, because we just proved my sensors are good, my wires are good, guys. I've checked the wires, believe me. I measured absolutely everything. I measured continuity, I measured the wires, like, you know, between each other, see if they were not shorted. I measured the wires against all the wires, against, actually, I've measured, like, for example, the ground on the looms plug, the ground against every other single pin on actually ECU multiplug. Make sure that was not shorted with anything, and I couldn't find anything wrong. So at this point in time, I'm blaming the ECU. Okay, now before I go and blame 100% the ECU, there's one little test, guys, that is gonna sound a little bit silly, but who knows if it's gonna work. So if I don't have readings on the ECU, and I have a 0 volts in there, that is doing this. Look what happens. I will show you. So I have the resistor here on my sensor, on my circuit, yeah, and I have 5 volts. So if I actuate the sensor with my hammer, you're gonna see that drops down to 0 volts. Okay? Oh, come on, get out of there. Okay, so 5. There we go. Now watch what happens when I remove my resistor. I have 0. And obviously now, doesn't matter what I do, nothing happens. So this is my theory. The circuit inside the ECU that obviously pulls, that obviously the resistors inside the ECU, somehow they are gone. Okay, that circuit. But to prove that, I'm going to do one thing. It might be stupid, it might not going to work. I'm going to try it. I'm going to put this resistor outside, I don't know, at the back of the ECU multiplex. I'm going to put this resistor between the crankshaft signal and the 12 volt and the 5 volts feed to the sensor. So I'm going to, whatever I think is gone inside the ECU, I'm going to put it on the outside. If the car starts, or if I get readings on there, I'm first just going to try to crank, and then obviously if the car starts, we figured out the problem. If it doesn't, I'm going to plug that in and see if we have readings. So let's gonna do it. Let's see what happens. Okay, so this is what I've done. I've back probe my 5 volts, and I back probe my signal in there, which comes into these leads, and we have the 5.2 kilo ohms resistor in there, just as I've explained at the back. And now I think that's it. Let's gonna crank this engine and see what happens. I tell you what, if the car starts, mission on. Oh dear. Oh dear. Can you see this? Woohoo! Wow. Look at that. Wow. Wow. You can't imagine how I'm feeling. It doesn't matter how I'm gonna explain. It doesn't matter. I'm feeling so happy. Wow, no warning lights. Wow. And now, just to prove my theory, let's gonna take this off and see if the engine stalls. Bingo. That's it. Okay, so we have a faulty ECU. There's no doubts about it. And I'm gonna, well, we're gonna open the ECU, see what we can find. As I said, why did they stop just before try the engine ECU? But tell you what, to be fair with you guys, I don't even know why they have been doing the cars and all that stuff. Like I said, I've ignored completely everything they said in here, and I went straight to the crank. That was my first thing. Obviously I mentioned something about the fuel, but the fuel, it might be that there is a problem. We'll see now with the engine running. When I get the engine running properly, we'll see on live data if we do have a problem or not. But the first thing was quite, how they missed this, really? Okay, let's gonna open the ECU and see what we can find. Okay, so hour and a half later, I would say, multiplex is out, just because I could see some components under the actual plug on this side, but most, I thought I'd find some sort of resistors here, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. All I see is capacitors, but on this side, so the circuit for my camshaft and crank, although like I said, I'm not too worried about the cam just yet, but nevertheless, so number 16 here, this is my camshaft, then 16, 15, 14, 13 is my crankshaft sensor input signal. The crankshaft sensor input signal comes through a lane into these two resistors here. You can see, oops, you can see that they are slightly different because I replaced them. I removed the old ones just to measure them. They measured alright, to be fair with you, but I put two new ones. I don't think they would fail under the voltage, but I got these two new ones. Then these resistor goes straight to this pin here, to this passes into the other side. This one comes all the way into this black SMD component, which I believe is a capacitor. I might be wrong. And from here it comes all the way down and goes into the chip. So I really don't know what to say, guys. I really don't know. So from this side, it goes to the other side, and then God knows what else. I've measured a few components, a few resistors around, transistors. On this side, I measure the capacitors. They look alright to me. They are not shorted at least, or open line. Guys, I've been for an hour measuring stuff around to find pretty much nothing wrong. I mean, obviously something's wrong, but I don't know what it is. So, what I'm going to do is something really silly. I'm going to do something really stupid. I don't think it's going to work. But, before I order a new ECU, that's what I'm going to do. And I think you guys know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a 52k ohms resistor between here and here. That's it. What we did outside, I'm going to do on the inside. Then I'll have to test the car because I don't know if there's anything else wrong. I don't know if this is going to fix it or not. But put it like that, I have nothing else to lose before I order the new ECU. If we need to replace the ECU, obviously I'll take you through. But for now, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I put everything back on. And I put the resistors as I've said. And we're going to try it, see what happens. Okay, so the last clip I have recorded when I've showed you the wire just now, that was like 2 days ago. When I finished that was about, I don't know, 6:30, 8 o'clock at night. So it was no point for me, it was already dark, was no point for me to be recording it. Obviously I couldn't wait, so I came straight here to try. But yeah, but now I'm going to show you, obviously. I don't know what I'm going to be able to do today because the weather is absolutely terrible. But I can show you this. So I'm going to show you, I haven't started the engine today yet. So it's going to put in there. It's going to press the clutch. And there it is, running. Now, there is one thing that you have probably noticed now. One is the engine light is on. I know last time it didn't come on when we tried. I think I know why the light is on. I don't know if the last time, if I would leave the engine running for a couple more minutes, if that would come on as well. But I don't know. I think why, and if you guys know a little bit about cars and stuff, you probably know already thinking why the car took this long to start. I can show you the car does that every single time. So let me stop the, oh, the seat is too back, too forward back. Okay, let me stop the engine. Okay, engine stopped. I'm going to start it again. Okay, so you've seen it took a little bit longer to start again. Now, if we go back, if you are watching the video from the beginning, you have seen that we had no crank and no camshaft speed signal. We have crank now, obviously, because the engine is running. Curiosity only for the video, we're gonna plug the scope somehow, I don't know yet. We're gonna plug the scope so we can look at the signal. But if you remember, we had no camshaft speed signal either, and I'm sure we still have no signal on the camshaft, and that's the reason why the car takes this long to start. Obviously it cranks, he sees that signal, looks for the signal, it doesn't see the signal, he carry on cranking, wait for that signal. When the ECU, obviously he has a set up amount of turns, I don't know, when he sees that there's no signal, he's gonna look for the missing tooth on the crankshaft ring. As soon as he sees that, he knows exactly the position of everything else, and he uses only the crankshaft signal to start the engine. And that's probably why he's taking this long to start. I'm pretty sure he is. But I'm gonna try to somehow set up the scope in there so I can actually show you that. And if we have no signal in there, I think you guys can imagine already what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do probably exactly the same as we did for the crankshaft. I'm gonna put a resistor on the outside as well, and see how it goes. If anything else on ECU is gone that will affect other areas of the ECU, and we'll have faults with other components. If we don't, and it's only these two, I'm not going to spend money on another ECU, obviously. Otherwise we'll need another ECU. To be fair with you guys, is ideally that's what you should do, is get another ECU, and that's it. It might be that I ended up by having to do that, but for now I'm not. So let's gonna try to do that then. I'm gonna try to show you the signals on the scope. I could plug the Maxi-Cs or Ister-D just to show you that probably that fault is because of the camshaft, but there's no point just yet. So let me see how I'm going to set up this so I can show you that. Okay guys, I don't think I'm going to be able to show you the signals. I've been here, well, I've been here for some time, tried to see if the weather would, I don't think it's going to change. So what I've decided to do is I plug the machine, the hotel, and we're going to scan the car, and hopefully that will show us, that will confirm that we have no signal from the actually camshaft. And providing that's what the problem is, I'm gonna take the ECU. It's still opened, the ECU. I mean, it's not open, but it's not sealed, let's say. And I'm gonna do the same as I did to the other one. So that's the plan. So let's gonna go scan the engine ECU and see what the ECU tell us. And just before we go there, I just want to show you, I haven't checked yet, I'm just going to see if the tool actually shows us whether the engine cranking to start, if he actually shows us engine speed. And it does show us, look at that, you see? So that was what was missing right at the start, wasn't it? Okay, so at least we confirmed that the ECU shows live data while cranking. Like I said, some ECUs they don't, but let's gonna see what the codes tell us. Okay, so we have no, because I had all that disconnected. Clutch switch, forget about it. Oh, okay, there we go, look at that. Bang on, you see that? So all the other ones was because I had them all disconnected. We have these DME clutch 10%, not really sure for now, forget about that for now. But yeah, that just confirms that we have no camshaft speed. So yeah, I'm gonna do exactly that. I'm not gonna be able, guys, to show you, I'm sorry, but yeah, let's gonna take this ECU back to the workshop, and let's gonna do the same as we did for the crankshaft. So I'm back here with this ECU. So as I showed you last 2 days ago, we done this circuit here. Now I'm going to do the same from this pin here, which is the camshaft speed sensor, which is the last one, pin 16, to the 5 volts power supply to the sensor, which I'm going to have to figure out which pin is, because I can't remember. Let me see here. On these things, I think is on plug number 2. Let me have a look. So grounds, supply intake camshaft speed sensor, which is pin 39 on the second plug. So pin 39. Okay, so 35. I still remember 35 is that one in there. 35, 36, 37, 38, 39 is actually the same. If you can, you're not going to be able to see now, but it's the same voltage. So this voltage, this pin is actually linked into the one for the crank, and is linked to this one up here. That's going to feed another sensor that requires 5 volts. But we're going to put the resistor into this one between here and that one in there. Another 5.2 k ohms, which I'm going to have to look for one. I think I still have one here somewhere. Otherwise, I will find it on another ECU. So let's gonna do that, and then let's gonna try it. And okay, that's done. Okay, so another one in there. I put a little bit of this melted sort of glue, just to, you know, vibrations and stuff, so nothing gonna break and move and short anything. So that should keep it in place. And we're gonna put the cover back on temporarily. Obviously, I'm not gonna seal the ECU just yet. And we're gonna go in the car and see if that code moves now from present to not present. So yeah, let's gonna have a go at it. So we put it back on, and now we're gonna try again. Oh, what a crap weather. Oh dear. Okay, so let's gonna try this. And first of all, the car should start straight away this time, hopefully. Let's see what's gonna happen. Fingers crossed. Press the clutch. No, it doesn't. Oh, we started. Hang on. Let me see what happened in there. It still took quite a lot to start. Okay, let me erase these codes. Now, we still have this problem here with the camshaft speed sensor. So that did not resolve my issue unless I'm using the wrong type of resistor. Okay, that's the only code on ECU now. So that did not work. Okay, this is a setback now. Yeah, it's still my problem here. Okay, so we still have no speed in there. Okay, we're gonna have to figure out a way of getting speed in there. How I'm gonna do that? Let me think. We're gonna have to get it repaired, guys, because it's the only code, which means everything else on ECU should be just fine other than those 2 circuits. Let me think what I'm doing wrong here. Okay, I don't know how this sound is gonna come through, but I had to record this, guys. So what I'm measuring at the moment is the crank. As you can see, is the crank speed, and we have a lovely signal from 0 to 5 volts, which is the first square, yeah. But when I go to the camshaft, I'm gonna have to obviously decrease the time. But look what I have. It doesn't reach the 5 volts to start with, and there's something there that doesn't look right to me. So yeah, okay guys, so where am I? After a lot of trial and error, and at some point, guys, I've started to remove actually components from the circuit and measure them outside of the board, because obviously the PCB can influence the readings. I removed loads of stuff, everything revealed to be good. As you've seen, obviously the first attempt we did, it didn't work because the signal was not even reaching 5 volts, and obviously that was not working, was reaching low voltage, although it was switching, but was reaching a low voltage. And the ECU was coming up with a code. I can't remember the code now, but it was something to do for camshaft signal plausibility or something like that. He's saying there's something wrong with the signal, but yeah. But finally I got it right, and I can't really show you because I had to solder it upside down, but basically right here is a 3.1 is one of these resistors actually that I took from another board. Okay, and that's what we have in there. These two, I took them off. This one is not really, it doesn't make a difference for this circuit, but this one I took it off, which is obviously in the circuit. I measured it and it's absolutely fine. I swapped these two anyway, but yeah, it's still the same. So once I put this here, this 3.1 is one of these ones here. So I've tried different, guys. As you've seen with the 5.2 k ohms, it didn't work. Then I've tried 5.6. I've tried a 6 k ohms. I've tried a 5. I've tried 4.7, and then obviously I was doing this, putting on the car, checking and check on the scope, and as soon as I got down to this one, oh, actually, I tell you one thing more. I've tried a straight connection, and obviously the ECU just reports a short to positive. But as soon as I got to this 3.1, guess what? The code is gone, and the car is starting spot on. I've tried it like this on the car. It's working. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in there, so just as I've done on this one. I had to take that off because of something else that I've been trying in the meantime. I've tried to take the actual voltage from after this resistor into there, using the same resistor for both. It didn't work. Guys, I've tried loads of stuff, but But guess what? We got it done. I got it right. So we're going to put a little bit of glue. I'm going to temporarily close it. I'm going to show you on the car. We're going to go for a test drive. But yeah, it looks like it's done. So I have temporarily closed this here with 2 screws, and we're going to put this back on. We're gonna try it. Okay. Turn on. Oh yeah, have you seen this? Gonna show you again. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Look at this. Ignition on. I wanted to. Look at that. Can you see the difference? It's starting absolutely fine. I think that thing was because I had the ECU unplugged before everything went to sleep, and obviously I disturbed communications. But what I wanted to see is that, oops, as you can see, the only present code now is my clutch switch, which I'm not even worried with that. Maybe the clutch, maybe that switch, that sensor somehow measures, I'm not familiar with the system, it measures how much of the clutch has been adjusted. It's gonna read the code again. Oh, there's not even no codes. So we have no engine lights. I'm gonna restart the engine again, just so you can see this one more time. Look at that. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So we made it. We fixed this ECU. Let me close the door to switch off that light. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, a little bit, so there's no code still for the clutch. Oh, sorry guys, maybe if I press the code, I don't know. Read the codes again. Yeah, as soon as I press the clutch, as soon as I press the pedal with the engine running, the code comes back. But as you can see, the car is starting absolutely fine. We have, I didn't show you guys, but we do have readings, proper readings now on that camshaft sensor. So the voltage where you've seen before with the 5.2k resistor, the voltage would go to about 4.5 volts, something like that. I'm so sorry guys, I had someone calling me. But yeah, so with this 3.1k ohms resistor, I actually have voltage going all the way up to 5 volts, and everything is working just fine. Another thing we're going to do very quick, I want to go through the live data. It's just to show you, obviously you know we have engine speed now, obviously, otherwise the car won't be running. But the other thing I want to show you is the pressure, the fuel pressure, just to show you, obviously that's absolutely fine now. Where is my fuel pressure? So there is. So the set point is 5 and we are getting about 5.92. So as I accelerate, so it's working just fine. I've checked every other live data on the engine. Everything looks fine to me. There's no misfires, as you're going to be able to see. So there's no misfires. I mean, it looks like whatever was faulty on this ECU. I'm going to go for a drive now, see if the car is running fine, make sure, you know, I just hope I'm not gonna be left stranded somewhere. But yeah, we're gonna go for a drive, make sure everything's fine, and yeah, and it looks like we got it done. Okay guys, I'm driving the car now for about 10 minutes. I had a little bit of a harsh start. At some point I have deleted all the adaptation values, and the car was surging, doing all sort of weird things. But after a while, it kind of started, obviously, to relearn everything, and he's running much smoother now. I would say he's running normal, really. I can't really see nothing now, and yeah, he's running fine. No engine light, as you can see. I'm driving a little bit slow now because I'm holding the phone in one hand, and but yeah, the car is driving absolutely fine. No problems at all. Let me put a third gear. I tell you what, this thing is fast. Okay guys, yeah, the car is driving absolutely fine. I can't see nothing wrong with it. Okay, let's gonna pause a little bit. It's gonna stop the engine. Let's see how it starts. Ooh, lovely. Lovely. Okay, let's gonna drive now home and wrap this up. Okay guys, I just got back home, stop the engine, let's gonna start again. That's it. Let's gonna quick check this U. You see what we have in there. Yeah, the clutch thing, the only thing. And now I don't need to take you through that, guys. I'm gonna take this U, gonna seal it, put all the screws back on, and put everything back on the car. There's a little cover that goes over the multiplex, put that in place, and that's it, and we got this resolved. So yeah, I said these many times throughout the video, ideally would be another ECU. I know that, but guess what, we managed to get it fixed. And yeah, I hope there's something on this video, guys, that you can take further, that you can take and I don't know, do something with it. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you still have any questions, any comments, you know the score, put in below. And like always, thank you so much for watching.